Hey everyone, it's Sarada and I scribble and today I will be in pain. But here are some of the picture references I used, this one mainly, and I will be drawing some Jasper today. Who else is getting murdered by Steven Universe? Oh my god! God, I could probably talk nonsense about Beta and Earthlings for days, but I'll not do that. I'll try to talk a little bit about the picture instead. Just know that, oh god, Jasper is my favorite, she is my favorite, and okay, enough harping on Jasper. About the picture. I have cut out about 3 hours of footage. I still had 9 hours left after that, so this piece took a very long time to put together. Partly because it was huge, and partly because I had so much art anxiety over it. Like, when I draw fan art, I get really anxious about it because I want it to be good. I want to like do the character justice, because often when I draw fan art it's of my favorite characters as well, so I spent a lot of time sketching and resketching, and I redid the line art I think 3 times before I was satisfied. One thing I should mention before the background disappears is that originally this was supposed to be sort of half a screenshot redraw, which is why you saw that big reference at the start. But in the end, I couldn't get the background quite right, so I ended up scrapping that and just making the picture slightly smaller. So while coloring this too, I was sort of in conflict with myself because I had 2 coloring styles I wanted to use. The first one was because of the background. I wanted the background to look very much within the Steven Universe aesthetic, so that meant very simple coloring but very effectful coloring. And then Jasper would have to be like flat colored because that is the way they do their art, but that was not what I wanted to do with Jasper. I wanted to like render her really nicely and make just Jasper and the background wouldn't have fit together. Here you can see I popped into Photoshop because I thought that would help me make the background nicer. It did with the ground. I found a very good technique for the ground, but then when I got to the walls, it just did not work anymore. So I spent quite a few hours here just trying to get the mountain wall behind Jasper right. And I couldn't, and I cut out a lot of it for you guys' sake because it was just very frustrating. But in the end, I cut most of that out. You'll see that in a second. The picture will be very much smaller than it was. But I will show you at the end, like, 2 versions of the piece. One where I kept the background and one where I had this shrunken down thing. But yeah, I'm finally getting into the shading of Jasper. So this was how I compromised with myself. I did one where I did the background simple, and then I cut down the piece so I could do a proper rendered version of Jasper too, and then add some extra shading to the background just to sort of bind it together. I don't think we get to like the shading of the hair until much later, but I watched, what was it, Leilani Joy's most recent paint along, and I think she got a question there where someone had asked how to make a character look more in the piece rather than on top of it, because I can feel like that about my art sometimes, that the characters stand out too much from the background. And she had then mentioned that you can use the colors of the background to shade your character. So what I did was that, at least for Jasper's hair, I added a lot of the background color into it, and I also like, here you can see it, where I used the colors around the hair, like the red from her suit and the lighter beige colors from the ground, just to like bind the piece together, and it actually did work. And if you guys don't watch Leilani Joy, you really should, because she has the greatest art advice. Like, she is amazing, and she is a traditional artist that works mostly with acrylics, well, entirely with acrylics I think, but either way, she has great art advice, so if you need any, you should really go watch her paint-alongs. So usually I spend maybe 4 to 5 hours on a digital piece. I try not to spend more because once I get past those 4 or 5 hours, I start nitpicking at stuff I really don't need to nitpick at. For this piece, I ended up redoing her face quite a lot for the shading. I think it started with her nose. It started with the nose gem because she is facing you pretty much head on, but her nose gem was just slightly too much tilted to the side. So once I had thinned out the line art, I noticed that, and then I was picking at it for a very long time. So I redid the line art of her lips, and I redid the shading around her like eyes too quite a lot. But I do like it better like this, so it wasn't like bad or anything. Oh, and her eyes. I really, that is probably the one thing I'm the most proud of. It's her eyes and her nose gem, the way I shaded them, because I added tons of sparkles to her eyes, and it just bound really well together with the nose gem because I did this sort of faceted thing. Rosheru does that when she does Steven Universe drawings. She does these really pretty faceted lighting on the crystal gems, and oh, it's so pretty. So I wanted to do something like that, and it turned out really quite nice. I overdid it first, so what you saw me do was like my third try, I think. But I like it. It turned out really nice. Oh, this feels pretty good. I've almost talked for the entire video. I was afraid I was gonna have to put in a lot of music and stuff because I wouldn't have things to say. But I've been able to keep talking. That's nice. I hope I have been relevant for most of it. Sometimes I spin off in the most ridiculous nonsense. About the tears, or like water and liquid in general, do you find it hard to draw that kind of stuff if you do art? Because for this piece I did this sort of double luminosity super bright thing, and I feel like while it looks pretty okay, it loses some dimension. I feel like I should have added some of the surrounding colors to the tears just to like sort of get them more to be more reflective and bound into the picture. I don't know. No, there was just so much nitpicking going on here. I was touching up everything at this point, but I think I am almost done. Yeah, here I start on the background, and that was like the last thing I needed to do. I did some really basic, like just rendering to make the background a little bit darker. I also did this thing where I put a layer of blue on top of the background and then a layer of orange on top of Jasper, just to get a sort of cool warm tone shift. I don't think I ended up keeping the orange layer that I did on Jasper, but anyway, the video is almost over, so thank you so much for watching this, and I hope to see you guys soon again. Just some final touch-ups, my signature, and here you have what the piece looked like when it was large and halfway done. This is the final piece, and here is a close-up of the face that I am very proud of. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you guys soon. Bye!